decided to use the new Final Cut Pro 10 for your editing projects? Well, there are a lot of advantages and improvements to the new Final Cut Pro that give each user a wide range of flexibility. Whether you're graduating from iMovie or editing for the first time, here's my 5 steps to a quick and productive start. I've placed all of our editing clips that we're going to be using on a folder on the desktop. And inside here I have several subfolders full of just various effects. Okay, images, and then other subfolders with other images. Everything is labeled and categorized. Alright, and then also some videos or footage. Okay, I like to label everything before I bring it into my editing system. That way I can go through my footage, log it all, delete the clips that are bad, label any clips that are good or keepers, and that way I've actually seen all the clips that I have before I bring them to editing. So when I'm editing the clips, then I'll be familiar with each of those clips, and it won't be the first time that I actually see them. So I'll be just more organized. It just helps keep you organized. It saves you a lot of process later on down the road, a lot of headaches down the road. When everything's organized in folders, every project gets its own folder. I keep all my stuff organized very nice and neatly. And the key to being a successful editor, and any good editor will tell you that everything is organized. Project management is the #1 key. So, my first tip, keep everything organized in a proper spot, and you will save yourself a lot of headaches from down the road. Okay, so the second step is knowing the difference between a library, an event, and a project. These are 3 super important features that Final Cut has that kind of distinguish themselves from other editing systems. So the library is just like that. It's a library that houses a lot of different books. Okay, the books are going to be your footage. So inside the library you have different sections. You might have your sci-fi section, you might have your history section, you have your fiction, your non-fiction. Well, those sections refer to the events inside your project. Okay? So inside each of those events here, you're going to have different books. The books is going to be actually your footage once you import them. I have no books in here right now because I have not imported any footage. Okay? But as you can see, the library is going to be right here on your computer. First Institute Library, it's under my movies section. First Institute Library right here. If you need be, you can always go ahead, click, and rename those if you'd like. But that's what's going to correspond to the library on your computer. You click on that, you open it up, and you can have, in your library will be here underneath your project. Now ultimately you can have as many events as you would like underneath your library. File, new event. We're going to call this first event 2, because I already have one created. So first event 2 is right there. Alright, and then inside those you're going to have projects. So let's go ahead and do file, new project. First project. And it's placed inside this event. The project is basically your timeline here. The project is the final movie that you will be exporting out. That is your finished movie, is your project. So whatever clips that you throw on here, however you throw this together, whether it be a music video, a short film, a day at the beach with the family, that project you're going to export out, and that will end up being your movie. So, library, events, and then projects. Next step we're going to do is importing. There's several different ways you can import your footage. Okay, you can right click, import media. You have a file, import media, or you can do my favorite method, which is just to go ahead and drag and drop your clips into there. Just like that. So my event now has it categorized with a project here, which has nothing on it because we haven't put anything on the timeline yet. And then I have one movie clip, which if we scroll through, this is just me on the green screen with a big giant gun. Okay, another way you can do, let's go ahead and file, import media, and this brings up the import window, which offers you a bunch of different options, of more so than if you were just dragging and dropping in. So once we're in here, we go ahead and select the location where our footage is at, and I'm going to go find it on the desktop, editing clips. Now when you import your stuff, you can choose what event to import it to. I have my first event and the second one that I created. You can go to another library if you want. We only have one right now. Copy your files, you can leave them in place. Basically, if you copy the files, it makes a duplicate of them and organizes them for you into their own separate folder. So Final Cut just organizes your stuff if you don't want to be organized. But since you followed the file management system in step 1 that I talked to you about, you don't have to worry about that. It basically just takes up more space on your hard drive. Then other various options that you have when importing your footage. So you can import each clip just like I did one by one, or if you go ahead and select each folder, you can import the folder and then into Final Cut, and it will categorize that stuff as well too. So let's go ahead and import those whole folders. Now I imported both of those folders, and inside there I have videos. I have 19 videos apparently, and I have a bunch of pictures. Okay, and then what do we have in here? More pictures. Alright, so these are our JPEG, these are our PNG, our portable network graphics. These are our PNGs. Oh, so now you can see, now that I've imported my stuff into my event 2, here's my other event. There's nothing in here. Click on this event. I have my project right here. QuickTime videos, all right here. And other images right here inside these folders as well. So that's basic importing. Once you have stuff imported, you can then go ahead and drag and drop it to the timeline, which we're going to talk about in our next step. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and start messing with the timeline. So let's go ahead and grab some of our footage that you'd like. You can select this, and by putting it on the timeline, just drag and bring it down. And from there, you can zoom into it, zoom out, however you please. There's your footage on the timeline. You can also select a portion of a clip that you'd like, and then go ahead and drag and drop that onto the timeline as well too. Now you see I have these clips back to back on the timeline there. And then if you want to go ahead, we can import images as well too. And we have this cool background. Let's go ahead and drag and drop that. Now as you can see, I placed the background as on top of these, so any video footage that's on top of another footage takes precedence over that footage. As you can see the video footage kind of swirling around in the background there. I'll turn this guy off. So here's my playhead, and then my footage is right here in the background behind that. So anything that you have in the foreground or on top of it is going to take precedence over that. Alright, so once you have all your footage on your timeline, what Final Cut has is called a magnetic timeline, which means if I bring this over here and try and place it over here, it's just going to come back and slam it right into the back of this guy. Same with this. I can bring it out. If I bring this out, this clip, everything slides over and gets attached over there. That's the magnetic timeline. It's a little different, it's a little tricky, but if you can start to manage it, it can be very useful to you as well. There's different ways you can turn that off and on or manipulate or work around it, but we'll get into that next when we start talking about the tools and all of the effects that are available to you as well. Alright, so if we have our audio here, let's go ahead and take our audio. We can take that and drag and drop it below the bottom here. This is a Sting song I have. Fantastic. So this is your audio, and you can do the same thing with your audio. Placing that below. Now wherever you place your audio, you can place them below or above. It's not going to go ahead and overshadow your video because it's audio. There's no video associated with it. But as far as organizational aspect, I like to keep everything towards the bottom. Now, as you can see, there's this little connector right here. I can go ahead and trim my audio. That stays in this spot right there. That's just so you know which clip is connected to. So if I wanted to move this clip, I'm moving the audio with it. Bring the audio over here, I can move this clip, the audio stays in place. So you have to be very cognizant as to what clip you're moving and what audio is attached to what clip, because if you end up moving this over here, it could mess up everything that's attached to this clip. Okay, you make this shorter, it brings that even closer. Okay, you change this, and this kind of stays, and this adjusts with that. So this magnetic timeline is very tricky, but if you're able to comprehend it and wrap your head around it, it can become one of your best assets when editing. Final step, editing tools, titles, and tricks. Final Cut, along with a lot of other editing systems, have tons of tools available to help you manipulate your clips, help you achieve that editing beautification project that you are going for, to that masterpiece. Okay, so some of the tools available here, you have your selector, your trim, your position tool. This stuff helps you manipulate all of your clips on your timeline. So if I wanted to do my blade tool, I go ahead and select that, click on it right there, go back up to my selector tool, and now I've created a splice between those, and now I can manipulate. And so it turns one clip into two. I've cut it. Okay, your position tool is something that I've talked about here. If you don't like this magnetic timeline, you can work around the magnetic timeline by using the position tool. So I'm taking this and I'm moving it, and I'm going to put it right over here. Alright, so in doing so, I've created these dark gaps, these gaps in between here. Okay, these little solid fills. And all those are is just a big black area that's a solid fill. You keep going through it. And they can be just manipulated just like any other clip. You can click on them, you can edit those down, edit your clips around them. Ultimately go back to your selector tool. You can take those, alright, and you can rearrange all this stuff, drag and drop it. Move something over, you can even delete those. Okay, but your position tool, alright, allows you to do that and move stuff around without messing up the rest of your without affecting your magnetic timeline. Okay, I encourage you to go ahead and use all your shortcuts here on the side, because this is going to make editing a whole lot faster. And editing is definitely about how efficient you are, or not. Definitely, editing is all about how efficient you are, because ultimately you need to work faster, because time is money. Okay. So those are your tools available here. If you right-click on any clip, okay, there's various options available to you in any clip. What I've done here is I detached the audio from this clip, so doing that, detach audio. So now I have an audio track. This is separate. I can move this around and do what I'd like to it. I can manipulate that. This audio track, I can add a fader, a quick fade in the beginning and in the end to fade it in and out. Okay, zoom in and out by the plus and minus sign on the keyboard. Alright, allows you to get a closer look at what you're doing in your fade. Okay, so just know that you have various options available on every clip just by right-clicking. You have stuff available to you in order to edit up and to further those edits. Okay, let's go over here and look on the right side of all these tools we have available over here. We have some stuff just to kind of beautify your clips, make them a little prettier, balance your color, match your color. Some speed, duration stuff. You can change the speed and duration of your clips. Alright, in here we have some different effects. The great thing about Final Cut is you can quickly see what these effects look like on the specific clip just by scrolling over them. Most other editing systems, you have to actually apply it to see what it looks like. But here in Final Cut, you can just go ahead and pass by. You see what that effect does to each of your clips. A great way to just kind of scroll through all your stuff, see what's available to you. Alright, if you need to import any photos, okay, this links up to your iPhotos and then of course your iTunes. It links up, brings your music in. You can do that very quickly. We also have transitions. Okay, so transitions are just that, how you move from one scene or one clip to the next. So we have some sort of arrows that spin around, and that's what that transition is. Ultimately, let's go ahead and just bring this cube in and drop it right on there and replace it. So now we have a cube which spins. You can ultimately change the duration of your transitions as well too, just by clicking on them and adjusting the sides. So those are your transitions, and I encourage you to go through and look through all the stuff that's available to you, because there's a lot of very cool transitions that can add a lot of effects to your movie to enhance it. Next we have our different titles. Okay, there's a lot of different in and out titles, movie credits that you can utilize that have already filled out for you. Okay, but a basic title, we can just do something like that. Again, I can trim it just like I trim any other clip. There's my title. I click on it, double click on it, and go in here and you can edit it up. You can change the size of it. Alright, by actually selecting it, you can change the position of it if you like. There's different alignments. You can add 3D text to it. You can change the color of it, which is the face here. Just click on the show button. Alright, and then let's go with red. There you go. If you do a blur, you can do a blur. I want to do an outline or a glow, or how about a drop shadow? Okay, and if I want to add more critique to that drop shadow, I can change the opacity of it, add a blur to it if I want to add a blur to it. I can even change the color and the distance, make it a little bigger, a little shorter. Alright, so as you can see, there's various options inside for each of these effects that you have on there. Okay. Alright, so this is our generators tab. Basically, you have different elements and solids you can create. So if you just want a big a black spot, maybe you want to put your title over the top of that for the intro of your movie, you have that created there. You can have a generator that does that. You have different textures available to you, okay, and different fun placeholders and elements, just stuff that Final Cut offers that can kind of enhance your project. And then we also have video generators, which are a combination of like your titles and your backgrounds, which they have, let's just say, this pan down film clip. You can add your own images to. Okay, and they've created those for you. So there's a whole ton of libraries, or there's a library available to you with a bunch of really cool generators and stuff that you can use to as bumpers at the beginning or the end of your footage, however you like, just to bring you into the project or bring your audience out of the project. Then to kind of close that window, you can always exit out of there. These little fun buttons on the side here, you might have seen me touch them here. This we have is our video skimming. We also have an audio skimming as well too, which allows you to skim across whatever clip you come in contact with. Ultimately, this can be very helpful or it can be very annoying. It's kind of up to you. But you can kind of turn those on and off right there. Same with the audio. Skim across the audio as well, which I always like to turn that off because I just do not like the audio stuff. And of course, if you want to listen to stuff solo, or you can add the effect on here, which is going to go ahead and snap your stuff together. Alright. That'll help out as well too. Different things you can do to help you through the editing process. And then here we go. I'm going to show you the inspector window, which is right here. Open and close that, which is this giant window up on the top right here. So the inspector window basically has all of your elements involved in it. So if I click on this specific clip, I have information regarding that clip, file information, where it's located and everything. And then I also have the different effects that are already on there. So as you can see, transform, crop, and distort are automatically on every single clip. I have not added any effects to it yet. So as far as this clip goes, let's just go ahead and add an effect to it, and let's just go ahead and add a 50s TV look. Literally, you can just drag and drop it right onto it. All of a sudden, that effect appears up here under effects, and so now you can manipulate the elements, the properties of that effect, in order to achieve the look that you're going for. Okay, you can ultimately hide them, you can show them, but any effects that you add, I can add multiple effects. Okay. And they'll show up right under here. Alright. And you can go ahead and manipulate each of those as well. So let's hide that right there. And then these are different stuff that you can use to stabilize your clip and kind of rolling shutter, composing, all this stuff you should go in and explore and just kind of feel your way around and see what stuff is relevant to you, your project, and how it can help and benefit and enhance your own project. Last thing I'm going to show you is how to export your project when you're all finished. So ultimately, when you have your wonderful movie together, I think our movie looks great here. A couple of shots, some old grummy warehouse, and a title at the end here. Fantastic, you know. So to export that finished masterpiece, we go over here to our export, and it gives you several options. You can go straight to YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo if you have those linked up, any Apple devices that you want to export to, or more than likely you can just go to master file, which if you want to create a file on your computer, on your desktop, wherever, you click on that. So in here it's going to show you the different elements. You have a 1920 by 1080 video clip at 23.98 frames per second. Stereo at 17 seconds long. It's going to be a QuickTime movie, and this is the estimated file size. We can ultimately change a few settings in here. File format if you just want to do video only or audio only. Okay, you can change the codec and the compressor. Alright, as well as different other options that are available to you. Once you click next, it'll ask you where you'd like to save it. Let's go ahead and save it to the desktop, editing clips. I'll just do first project 1, so we know here. Click Save, and as that's doing that, it's go ahead and working in the background. This is your background tasks right here. So you can see that it's sharing. And the great thing about Final Cut is the fact that you can go ahead and continue to work on your project while it's sharing in the background. Now, any new edits that you do to your project will not be in the one that is currently sharing or creating that master file on your desktop, but they'll be in the updated new ones. As you can see, it's ready to go. The file's ready to go. It automatically opens up, pops up. We have this, we have that, we have that, and we have a wonderful little title there in the end. Let's close that, and we'll close out of that. And as you can see, there's our movie file right here on the desktop. You can ultimately put that wherever you'd like, copy it to anything place. But nonetheless, let's close out of that there. That is a basic overview of getting started with Final Cut Pro. I hope this helped, and look forward to some of our other videos. Editing is all about your ability to manipulate time and to develop clips into a cohesive storyline that flows smoothly. So, finding an editing system to fit your needs is crucial. Final Cut Pro 10 is a dynamic editing system that offers a wide variety of editing needs and can propel you to the next level. Thanks for watching, and check out our other videos for more tips and tricks.